up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We'll look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in Kate. Kate, good to see you this evening.
Good to see you too, Derek. How are you? Wait, I already know the answer to that question.
Yeah. This is my happy face. Why? Next, I'm going to bring in our producer, Gina. Gina, glad to have you talking Star Wars this evening.
Thanks for having me. We'll discuss some Ahsoka. I'm excited.
Yeah. Next, we've got our other Star Wars super fan on here. We got Peter. Pete.
Hey, I know you guys sometimes get annoyed at my cat coming on, but, I thought maybe, you'd be okay if this guy came on.
I
I want one. I want to love cat.
And lastly, but certainly, especially now, definitely not least, is Steve. Steve,
hi, everyone.
Hey, guys, if you have not already, please like, subscribe, share. That way you will make sure you never miss any of our episodes. Okay.
If that was me, Derek would have already muted me and dropped me down at this point. I just want to let that be known. Continue, Derek.
To our
This cat cost me a lot of money, so I'm going to use him.
To our...
No, go ahead. I was actually going to say to our loyal listeners who are with us every week, if you do not want to listen to a bunch of us geek out about Star Wars and Ahsoka,
okay?
Next week we are doing Apple Dumpling Gang from the Vault. We will see you then. Those of you who do want to listen to certain people geek out about Star Wars, we watched episodes 1 through 3 of Ahsoka this week. It picks up basically straight from from Rebels, as we thought it would. And yeah, so I'm going to start with Pete on this one. What from this series is leaning towards the light side? What has worked so far in the first 3 episodes? Or I won't start with Pete. Okay. I think Pete might not be with us.
The cat's just meowing.
Okay. So, Gina, why don't you start with what worked for us?
Okay, so a few things worked for me very well. I'm going to start with my favorite character, which is Hu Yang, played by David Tennant. He's my favorite character. I love this droid. He's amazing. What else worked for me is the Sabine character. She's a great actress. I really like her. And the third thing that really worked for me is that you have to know Star Wars to watch this. I love that. It is so good for my little Star Wars soul. It's a fan letter to us, per usual. Thanks, Dave. Anyway, so Pete, are you back? Are you caught up?
Yeah, no, the issue seems to be that I have Derek delayed because I'm seeing Derek from like 2 minutes ago.
Excellent.
Okay.
So, anyways, what worked for me on this show? I liked seeing all the Rebel characters. I do feel like so far this is actually a television show. A lot of times, both Marvel and Star Wars has the problem that it feels like it's a movie that's been drawn out to 4 or 5 hours, and there's slow. I mean, not that there wasn't slow parts to this, but I felt like this so far feels like an actual TV series that's telling a story that needs to be told across a TV series. So I'm liking that, and I'm liking a lot of the action. I think a lot of the action has been very good too. So overall, I'm liking most things about this show so far. Steve, what about you?
I just binge watched Rebels like a couple weeks ago, so all 4 seasons. I like that if you love Rebels, it's definitely there. Like you see things and it picks up really quickly. I like the storyline so far. I like how it's going into sort of this mystic side of Star Wars, which is a different little path. I'm curious about where that's going to go. So that's interesting. I know that was sort of happening at the end of Rebels, so it's intriguing to see that. I agree with Gina. I think my favorite character so far, actually that, but also Sabine. I think that's the one that matches up most for me from Rebels, of just the feeling I'm getting there. So that's what I'm liking so far. What about you, Derek?
Episodes have been relatively short. Well, especially the third one is only like 35 minutes with credits. I like that they're still doing the practical effects, that it is actually makeup and face
prosthetics.
pieces. It's prosthetics. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Kate.
I knew you were gonna say short. I knew short was the.
So, I liked the aesthetics. I liked the makeup. I liked some of the casting choices. Some. Chopper, believe it or not, had me laughing out loud when Chopper threw the little thingy and it stuck, and then he goes, ha ha. I laughed out loud. So loved that. Some of the fight scenes were well choreographed, because I Daredevil still to this day is the best fight scene choreographed of the Marvel universe. So I like watching fight choreography. So I thought the fight scenes were good. This was a deep cut for Star Wars fans, man. Deep cut. You had to know, and as much as I know, I still was like, I don't think I know. So, and I tried to know. All right, Derek. Next.
Yeah. So I'll go with Pete on this one, assuming he can actually respond to me this time. What is giving off the Sith vibes for this? What is not working so far?
Not too much to me. I thought the first episode was a little slow getting things started. I would say, with what Kate said, I'm not sure that to me the best Star Wars or the best any show is something you can walk in and enjoy it and not having to have seen 4 seasons of the previous show.
And Clone Wars.
This is not that.
And this is
Wars
not that. They are assuming going in that at least the bare minimum about these characters. And Clone Wars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of details, like the main bad woman is part of the Night Sisters, which is like really deep. Yeah, it's
Darth
really
Maul.
deep.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah. So there's definitely for me, I try to watch it with that aspect and say, okay, is someone that's not a big Star Wars fan gonna like this? And I feel I worry for this show because of that. Yeah. I do think the characters are interesting here, but like the one character to me that isn't interesting based only on this show is Ahsoka. Because she's just kind of very stoic. I do like this concept that she's trying to train somebody that's not force sensitive, which is an interest. It's different from anything else Star Wars has done, and Star Wars has a hard time doing different. So I think that can be appreciated, even not knowing the characters. But yeah, her character is not that interesting yet. I think Sabine is a more is appearing as a more interesting character, even if you don't know her backstory. I think the show is making her character more interesting. That's my big negative. What do you think, Steve?
I am not happy with some of the casting choices. I feel like from watching Rebels, the personality is not coming through. Like Hera is one that jumps to mind. I wanted to say Hera's missing sort of her feistiness. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but she seems sort of a little bit more low key.
No, Loki's in a month. Loki's in like a month and a half.
Subdued.
Yeah. Subdued. Ahsoka, maybe it's because I haven't seen much about Ahsoka, but Ahsoka seems to me a little bit off. Maybe, like you said, maybe a little too stoic. And then Sabine, I think, is really the closest because following the line, it's a few years after Ezra has left. Like, I could buy into where her character's at, but the other ones, it's just the personality is not matching up to me. And it's getting a little bit easier as the episodes go on. Like, okay, this is how they're playing it. So that's probably my biggest thing. Like, characters not matching up to the characters I know. Even Chopper, like I think you mentioned, Gina, is not as feisty as he was in the animation version. So what about you, Derek?
I will kind of piggyback off what Pete said, that if you are not hardcore into Star Wars, this is not your thing. Not at all. It's telling that on the night it premiered, 1.2 million people watched the first episode and 900,000 watched the second episode. So they lost a quarter of their viewers after the first episode. So that's
maybe the case. I mean, I do have to say, like, I didn't watch them both the same night because they were long. I mean, they were long. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think it's so hard to tell what's a success anymore in the streaming world because you don't know.
Right. And then
and that's half of what watched Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So.
But then how many watched Obi-Wan the first week? Because there were 4.5 million the first week for Ahsoka. That's what I heard this morning.
I'm not sure about within the first week.
Okay.
4.5?
Yeah, I heard it this morning on the news. I was impressed. I was like, whoa.
That's Disney, not anywhere in any numbers I'm seeing anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I heard on the news this morning.
Okay. But anyway, I don't feel a real connection to any of the characters yet. I don't feel like we've really gone deep on any of the characters yet, especially if you haven't watched Rebels. But the biggest thing whatever. If you haven't watched the cartoons, then you're going to have a real hard time. I would rather have seen this as a movie at this point, because so far we're 20 minutes into a movie. 20 to 30 minutes into a movie, because unless it really comes up huge, the whole fact that there are still Empire loyalists, okay, sure. But we'll kind of get into a little bit of I've got a couple predictions on what's going to be coming up, but this is just did not hold my attention at all. Yes, they were shorter episodes, but what has happened in almost 2 hours of show? I mean, we've got the band back together. We know Ezra and Thrawn are out there somewhere, and they're building a Stargate. Oh, sorry, hyperlink, whatever, super wormhole.
They're bringing it back. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's people that are not happy the Empire is gone. That didn't need to be an hour and a half. Excuse me, almost 2. So
I'm going to disagree with you, because to me there was enough plot in each episode that was different, because it was the first episode was Ahsoka finding the map, bringing it to Sabine being a hothead and doing something stupid and losing it, and then there's each episode has had some fights in it or whatever. The second episode, not so much, but like following the trail. Once they lost the map, now they have to follow the trail. And then the third episode was a little bit of Sabine's training. And the third episode worked for me the best because I thought that part was interesting, as I said, to kind of see, because leading up to that, I was like, why would she even be training Sabine? She's not force sensitive, whatever. And that line where Ahsoka said,
She doesn't need her to be.
She doesn't need her to be a Jedi. She just
Yeah.
needs her to be Sabine. That made me appreciate that relationship so much more up to that point. The first two episodes I'll say I liked, but was lukewarm on. I like the third episode caught me a lot better. So I'm still very much looking forward to this show. And I would argue, yeah, there hasn't been a ton of plot, but it's an action show, and action and characters.
And
there's been enough plot.
And on the action front, where
Mhm.
Kate said the fights have been well choreographed, the Starfighter battle in the third episode was terrible.
I loved it.
You thought
Oh,
so?
yeah.
I
I
thought it was
loved it.
great.
I loved it.
Terrible. Yes, never mind the fact that they had P-51 Mustangs attacking the ship, because that's what they were. They look
They're the
exactly like-
N1s from Naboo, but that's neither here nor
whatever. But it felt that battle for them just basically all going in a straight line felt way too long to
Have
me.
you been on Star Tours? Star Tours. That was like the Star Tours where they all get like killed.
I would love that to have been Star Tours. I wouldn't have gotten as sick.
That was
Amen, brother.
That was a Star Tours ride.
So
Anyway.
I wouldn't have gotten as sick on Star Tours as I did watching that fight. So, Kate, what didn't work for you?
Yeah, so I know that I am not as hardcore of a Star Wars fan as say Gina and Pete, but I did go into this. I tried to go into this with an open mind because I am a big Rosario Dawson fan. But having watched some of Clone Wars, having watched the episodes that we watched of Rebels, having known Ahsoka in the parks with Star Wars weekends, when weekends used to be a thing before Star Wars Celebration started, I just feel like the character of Ahsoka isn't being played how I interpreted the character of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So I know I posted this in our group chat, but I guess I understand why, but I feel like they missed the mark by not casting Ashley Eccleston or Ecclestein, or however you say her name. Because if you see her, for those of you listening, she was the voice of Ahsoka in everything. When you see Ashley, pictures of her, she portrays very bubbly. She portrays very almost childlike. And I just feel like Ahsoka, and again, love Rosario Dawson. She is a brilliant actress. But I feel like she's almost coming off like hardened, like really hardened and heavy and war torn. And I don't think that that's particularly what Ahsoka is at this point in her journey.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Do you mind me?
Go,
Gina
go,
can
go.
comment too.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not sure if this is why they're interpreting this way, but this is 8 to 10 years after we've last seen Ahsoka in anything.
Yeah.
Because from the end of, because the last time we see her is, well, I shouldn't say the very end of Rebels, they jump ahead to now, what
Yeah.
we're seeing
Which
now.
is
But-
4 years.
But
Yeah.
right, so the end of Rebels, most of the end of Rebels is right at the start of the Star Wars films, the original 3, right? And then those 3 movies take place over about 3.5 years. And then this is set 5 years after that. So it's about 8 years after we last saw Ahsoka. So she is older, but I do agree with you, Kate, that the interpretation of the character, considering how feisty, the term that Gina used for, do you feel the same way, Gina, that like it's
Yeah,
a very stoic.
she's too
Ahsoka.
stoic. What I was going to say was for her, and then Derek, you can go ahead. But what I was going to say for her was that we don't know what happened. What happened in those 2 years? Like we don't know what happened. We never saw anything that happened with her and Sabine. We know she walked away because she was not done with the Jedi Order, but she from the Jedi Order to helping the rebels, she was the same person. How did she change so much between training Sabine, and now? That was my question.
Right.
Go ahead, Derek.
So this is after Mandalorian.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Because to me, that's the last time we saw her was in The Mandalorian.
And she's still that.
Right, but that was Rosario Dawson. You're
Dawson,
right. Yeah, but that's still Rosario Dawson's interpretation, which has been fairly stoic, I think.
But she was happier then too, with like the little jokes. Anyway.
Now,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kate.
Can I finish?
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So the only other thing I was going to say is it is a little bit slow moving. It didn't hold my attention quite like I wanted it to. I was really hoping it was going to pull me in because Andor pulled me in. And like I wanted to sit and watch Andor. I also couldn't get past, and you all know me. I'm really bad with like alien species names, and I'm really bad with names in general. So the guy with the beard, he was a bad guy with the beard and the green. Green cloak.
Kylon?
The bad guy
Sure.
Jedi who the actor is dead. The bad guy Jedi
Now?
who the actor is dead. The
Now?
guy with the beard.
Kylon?
Yes.
Now?
Yeah.
Kylon. His name's Kylon.
Yeah. He reminded me of Mr. Snow from the Hunger Games.
Yeah, he did have that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the woman that he rescues, I could not figure out who she reminded me of. And all I was like, is it the villain from the Power Rangers?
Or is it
She does look like that.
Yeah, okay. I'm not crazy. Like, so I really wanted to like this. And I think some of the casting was so good. Like the people, let me rephrase. The people that they cast are very talented. I don't think that it was a correct casting. But the people that they cast, it wasn't the actors' faults. Go ahead, Derek.
I will also say, in connection to your, talking about how you would have rather done Ashley Eckstein, she has only done voices. She's never actually appeared on screen. So she is only a voice actress.
But is Thrawn an actual actor?
I feel like she could have
Yes.
still done a great job.
Oh, he is? Okay. Because
I think she could have still done a great job.
Yeah, the actor that is going to be Thrawn also did the voice. That's actually Mad Mikkelsen's brother.
Okay, so he's
I forget it, Lars Nicholson or something like
Lars.
Mikkelsen.
okay.
Yeah, he's in.
I've only known him.
And he's-
as Admiral
he's-
Thrawn.
He's done a lot of live action stuff, mostly in, I think,
mostly in
Denmark or
Norway.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is an actor.
A lot
so,
of the
yeah.
titles look like the Monty Python subtitles. So
Right, yeah.
So the only thing I'm going to say about giving off
Also
Sith,
weak.
for me, giving off Sith vibes, I said it for the thing that's leaning towards the light side, is that it's really made as a love letter to fans. That's the flip of the coin. It's a Sith side because it's only a love letter to the fans. So I wish that Dave would have been like, hey, you don't have to know about the Dathomirian witches to know about this gal. You don't have to know about the Stargate that we're bringing it back. You don't have to know about the N1s and how they fly and how they get blown up real quick. You don't have to know about the flying sea whales. Anyway,
The flying sea whales, yeah.
the Star Whales.
the light speed of, the hyperspace capable Star Wars space sea whales.
Yes. So you have to know a lot and you have to really care a lot to watch this. And it's two sides of a coin for me. I love it for me, but for the regular Joe Schmo, I feel so bad because I know they can't get into it.
Yeah. And even as someone that, like Gina and I, that really are like know the stuff and enjoying this, to me, Andor is still a better
It's the
show.
best. It's number one. It's the best one. Yeah.
And again, but I think, in the end, if a show can't hold up to you just watching that show, it's hard to be a great show.
Mhm.
Like this, if this is just for the fans and the hardcore, I'm talking about the hardcore fans, as you say, the ones that have watched all the animation and everything like that. If you're playing this show just to them, I don't think that can be wholly successful.
And that's the flip of the coin. I said it
Right.
as part of the light side for me, but it's also the very dark side. So anyway, continue. Moving on.
Now, knowing their answer already, Pete and Sheena get to sit this one out. So, Steve, do you want to keep watching this show?
That's Steve.
If we did not have to watch this show, would you keep watching this show?
At least for the next few episodes. Like, I'm on that verge of sort of interested where it's going, but I'm not like dying like to watch the next episode. Like, if I was putting this on, it'd probably be my queue, and when I found time, I might play an episode. So that's where I'm at. So maybe not. We'll see where it goes. That's what I would say.
Hey, how about you?
I would probably give it one more episode. But there are other things I would rather watch as of right now. Now, like we said, Andor, I would be like, no, I want to watch the next one. No, I want to watch the next one. This one, I would probably give it one more episode.
I would agree. I'm not sure, honestly, I would even give it that.
Yeah.
Because there are so many other things that I want to watch. There are so many other good things that are coming up that I would rather spend my time, and then instead of spending 45 minutes doing this, I'm going to go watch 2 more episodes of Zorro. So it's just one of those where, to me, they're so much better that if you are not the love letter targets of Gina and Pete, they missed the mark on this one to me. So, Gina and Pete, I will bring you back in on this one. Is there any reason you would not want to keep watching? Is there anything this show could do in the next 3 episodes, let's say, to make you not want to finish it?
If they kill Ezra, I'll stop.
Okay, do you think we're actually going to see Ezra before the end of the last episode?
Yes. I think that'll be the last episode.
I think the last episode, the last 5 minutes will be, my God, there's Ezra.
Yeah. It'll be the very, very end.
I kind of hope they don't do, because to me, this is, it's setting up bringing Ezra back, but it's also Thrawn back. And if you bring back Thrawn in the last 5 minutes of the show, I
think he comes back before that. Because he and Ezra would have split on whatever galaxy they're in.
I think the Dathomirian's going to get him out and leave Ezra. It's going to be a whole thing to try to get Ezra out of that planet, out of that system. That's my guess.
Yeah,
too.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm assuming they're going to.
Yeah. So Pete, for you, what would have you stop?
What would have me stop? Yeah, it would be like killing Sabine or something.
Yeah.
Shh. Behave.
Those love cats, man.
I know. They're noisy.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it'd be like killing a major character, which they won't do. I'm enjoying this show enough. I waded through Book of Boba Fett, which I liked a lot less than this. Oh my God.
Would you have finished that if we weren't watching it for the show?
I would, because of Cad Bane. Cad Bane.
As a big Star Wars fan, there's probably not much I'm going to desert. Even Secret Invasion, which I'm not as big a Marvel fan, like that show I could have deserted.
I would not have finished that show. Would anyone have finished that show if we weren't watching it for this?
No.
Maybe.
I would not have.
Are you one of those completers that you start a series, you're going to finish the series?
Not so much, but I liked where I thought it was going to go. Like I like that spy sort of thing, so that was keeping me interested enough.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily been like gun ho. It might have took me a year to eventually finish it off, but
yeah, to me so far this is better than Book of Boba Fett. It's better than the last season of The Mandalorian, to be Even though I'm a huge fan of the first 2 seasons, the 3rd season was similar to this in that it was deep cut, but I don't think it was as good as this. I'm liking this better because to me it's giving me something. I said I want something I'm not necessarily expecting, and nothing in the Mandalorian season 3 surprised me. Like what happened in that series was exactly what I figured would happen in that season. And I think at least this is, because I said, like, Sabine as a Padawan, I wasn't expecting that. Having these 2 other former Jedi, they're not Sith, those 2 bad guys. Even though they look like they have red lightsabers, those are orange lightsabers. They're not Sith.
Well, and that brings me back to the thing. I am calling it now that whoever the guy is with the beard will have a chance to kill Ahsoka and won't.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at that.
Yeah, she lost a Jedi Order also.
Based on that line from the first, I think it was the first episode about how deserves respect. It would be a shame to see her die, etc.
Yeah. I mean, these people are mercenaries, right? Essentially, is what they are in the show. They're not Jedi, but they're not ideologically for the Empire. Like, what's her name is the lead bad woman.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Elsbeth, yeah.
Beelzebub?
I listened way too closely.
Elsbeth.
She's Dathomirian. She's Dathomirian witch too.
The two Jedi though, I was reading this, their names, their last names are both names of like wolves from Norse mythology.
Ooh.
One representing the lights, the sun or daylight, and one representing nighttime.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I don't know if that is going to come to mean anything, but I thought that was interesting.
Consider the wolves from Rebels.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's who we need. That's who they're going to bring back, is Kanan or whoever it was.
No, that would piss me off to no end if they found a way to do that. I do not want that. I did super enjoy seeing little whatever his name was, their kid. Jason. Yeah, baby Kanan. And he's like, I want to be a Jedi.
Should he have had green skin though? Because wouldn't that be a dominant trait?
Apparently not. Twi'leks are not the dominant species.
No.
I guess not.
Okay, Kate. Back to semi-reality. We've got a lot of cancellations in this week's Disney Plus news.
It's pretty much all we have in our Disney Plus news. Number 1, Doogie Kamealoha. That's the one. Has been canceled after 2 seasons on Disney Plus.
Did anyone actually watch the 2nd season on here?
I did. I watched the first couple episodes. That's it.
I watched like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and
I watched 1 or 2 episodes total. So
yeah, me too. And
nope. Next up, despite already filming the first season, Nautilus, the Captain Nemo series, has been canceled from Disney Plus. The company is reportedly shopping the series to other broadcasters so that there is still a chance that the series will be seen. Womp womp.
And that, of course, was based on the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea movie from 50s. Yeah, it's got to be the 50s.
50s. It was 54.
Who do you think is going to take it? Netflix? Who do you think is going to?
No, I don't see it on Netflix. I see it on like the CW or something like that.
Oh, you see it as like a regular. I think it's.
I mean, I don't know how much Disney spent on it, but there's probably not a lot of people that'll pay them enough for what they spent for it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just stunning to me that you would spend the money to film I mean, they filmed the whole season, right? They went to Australia with their whole cast and the crew and the special effect and everything like that, and they filmed it. Now maybe the special effects. What?
BBC take it, maybe.
Maybe. That's not my loth cat.
That's mine. Sorry.
Mama, feed me. All right. And last but certainly not least, the previously announced Spiderwick Chronicles series has been canceled once again after the first series has been filmed.
First season was filmed. Yeah, again, the whole filming a season And yes, they haven't done all the special effects and everything, but to film it and pay all the actors and everything, and then say, sorry, it's not going to come on. Sorry, we're not going to show it.
Yeah.
Can they put it on Disney Channel? Like, that's something that would be fine on Disney Channel. I wonder why they don't do that.
And I would say direct to video, but that's kind of what Disney Plus is. So
Right. So
Right.
just Disney Channel it. Make it a DCOM series, whatever.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
mean, I don't get how like burying it saves them more money than producing it, but I don't know the world today. And the other thing is, you think that's weird is like they're literally right now completely unable to produce
anything.
content because of the writer's strike and the actor's strike. You know, you're looking. I mean, I know the producers or these companies are like trying to hold them off or whatever. And, you know, I hope the writers and the actors get everything they asked for. But at some point, they're going to run out of content to put out. And are you going to pay for? And then they're raising the prices for all these services. Are you going to keep paying
for nothing?
$15 for Netflix and $15 for Disney Plus and everything else if there's no new content? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's the other thing that makes me think, why would you cancel this? Because at a point, the content's going to be so thin.
Right.
You're going to need it.
Could they have said they're canceling it, but always bring it back last minute? Because it's not necessarily anything official Disney announcement that it's been canceled, but it's not on the production schedules anymore anywhere. But that's always one of those where if they need content badly enough, they could always bring it back.
Yeah, as long as they don't do the actual write-off, because the Warner Brothers with like the Batwoman film that they scrapped, supposedly because of the way they wrote it off, that thing can never be seen by anybody. That's
Well, it's like you can never see Willow again. You can never see like all the sadly prop cultures on that list.
Yeah.
So
that was a good one.
Yeah. Okay. As I said at the beginning of the show, next week we're diving back into the vault. We're going to do Apple Dumpling Gang. Guys, I hope this is not a case of we remember 30 years ago that it was good,
I know.
and now we are going to go back and watch it, and it's not. And I have this fear
Me too.
that that's what's going to happen. Now it's got Tim Conway and Don Knotts in it, so it can't be. It would be hard for it to be a horrible movie. It's possible, but from what I remember, it definitely won't be the worst thing we've watched lately.
Yeah, my wife and I would watch TCM. They used to have like Disney nights, right?
Yeah.
And they'd show a bunch of movies. They never showed the Apple Dumpling Game, so that's one of the few that I haven't gone back and watched as an adult. And there were some from that time that were actually pretty good. So it could be. I mean, that's, again, I think a lot of people consider that a classic. So we'll find out.
And I mean, 1975. So
I loved it as a kid.
It's
as old as it might be.
Same years. No, I was going to say same years as Star Wars, but no, that was 77.
Yeah,
I mean, is there anything that Don Knotts has done that wasn't good?
Yes. Incredible.
Mr. Furley.
Is very meh.
Mr. Furley.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Don Knotts, so I'm excited. I don't think I've ever seen it, so I'm excited to watch it.
Nice. I will say I probably haven't sat and watched it since I was 9 or 10 years old, realistically.
Yeah.
So,
realistically, my entire memory is Don Knotts, Tim Conway, and a little girl.
One little girl with two brothers, a barkeeper, and a really rich guy that doesn't really want to get involved with them, but does.
So you remember more than I do. I just remember there was a little girl.
I remember Don Knotts and Tim Conway trying to break in and rob a bank.
Right, they were
okay.
I mean, that's what they were criminals.
It's coming back
right?
to me.
Yeah.
Because of a big gold nugget that the kids find.
Yes.
Sorry. Well, Kate, we'll stop now.
Spoilers.
For spoilers.
Cover your ears.
Appreciate it.
50-year-old spoilers.
Yeah. No.
48.
48-year-old spoilers.
48.
I mean, come on.
Okay, you're right.
Guys, if you have suggestions, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. still really need something in 2 weeks, I would love to find a diamond in the rough for 2 weeks from now. Because I have a couple ideas, but none of them are great right now, to be perfectly honest. So if you have an idea, please give us a diamond in the rough to look at. We're going to be going back into the vault a bunch coming up. We've got a bunch of new stuff coming up, but I would love to do a good diamond in the rough. Because that's the whole idea behind it, is that it's something that most people don't know about, but it's actually really good.
Right.
So if you have it, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. We have new episodes every Thursday on YouTube and all the major podcasting services for the entire team, Kate, Gina, Steve, and Pete. We will see everyone next week for the Apple Dumpling Gang. Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode, because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.